All right, let's take a look around the region. This weekend you are going into Highland. They put up a strong showing against a very good Hammond High team. Hammond High got some votes, and I think we were one of them. But somebody else voted, gave them a vote too. So Hammond High's coming on strong. You got them later in the year, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, right.
And but they gave Highland gave them a good game at Hammond High, and quite frankly, Highland could have pulled that one out. So they're a good football team, and it could really make their season to have you come in there and them smack you down.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think the Highland kids are looking forward to it. I know some of those guys, and they can't wait to beat us. And I met with Ken By Saturday morning, had some breakfast, and he's kind of got a smile on his face. Even though he lost to Munster, he thinks his kids are going to be up for this game, and they are. Should be a great football game.
So you're at Highland. You don't want to look forward, but I want you to I want you to take a look at a couple of games we got going on this weekend. And you've beaten both of these teams. Griffith at Lowell. What can we expect out of that one?
It should be a great game. You know, the difference, I think, will be Lowell's got more depth, got more size. It's supposed to be a cool night with some rain, so it might not be as big a factor as Friday night was. But I really think with Lowell's depth and their size, Griffith's going to get some success, but they could get worn down. So I would pick Lowell at the Inferno.
Andrean at Munster.
Yeah, we've scrimmaged a lot of teams this summer. Andrean's by far the best team we've seen. I think up front on both sides of the ball, Andrean is a nightmare for a team that can't just run by them and throw over their head. So I look for Munster to have a really tough night, trying to move the ball and trying to defend the run against Andrean.
Now, of course, your good buddy is a coach over at Andrean, and I know kids at both of these schools, and they're looking for both. They're considering this a very huge game, and quite frankly, it could determine the Northwest Crossroads Conference. But what are you hearing out of Andrean?
Well, if you look at the last 2 years, Andrean won last year, I think at the very end, and then lost the year before at the very end. So every time those guys play Munster, it's a nail biter, kind of like when we play Munster. But this is by far the strongest, most physical Andrean team we've seen. They're very confident. They play very good football. I know Munster's is at home and they've got a lot of talent, but I think just the physicality of Andrean is going to give Munster, who's kind of turned into a finesse team similar to us, is going to give them a really hard time. And Phil's one of the top coaches around. He knows exactly what's going on. I don't bet on things, but I certainly would think that Andrean's going to win this.
Steve Fowler, who announced the game here on WJOB, says, tell Roy to get Andrean on the schedule next year.
You know what? We talked about that. The fact that we're such good friends, and each week we kind of compare notes on common opponents. We spend a lot of time in the summer together helping prepare each other's team. We would lose a lot of what we do together if we were an opponent. So at first we thought about doing that, and we realized it might be counterproductive. We do so much stuff together in the summer, and we check with so many notes with each other and compare game plans against common opponents with each other. It's almost more fun to do it this way than to rather 1 week out of the year be an opponent and then we lose some of that stuff.
Often, let's go over at the Duneland right now. Often Crown Point and Lake Central is not that big a game. Crown Point has a huge edge in that game. But Lake Central beat Portage 62-7 on Friday. They also beat Munster at Munster. Of course, they downed EC Central 64-8 right now. They've got Yancey as a quarterback who could play fullback on any team in the area. And they have a number of good running backs and some big hoss linemen. Can Lake Central compete with Crown Point this Friday night?
Oh, I think so. It's going to be big against big. Crown Point did a number on Lowell because they're just so big. Lake Central did a number on Portage because they're so big. We saw Portage this summer, and they're athletic and they're fast and they're improving. But that doesn't help you when a team is that much bigger than you just running downhill at you. So it's going to be big versus big. I don't know if either team has enough skill to make the other team look bad, but both teams are very aggressive and physical. Both are well coached. That should be probably the game of the week, I would think.
Are you surprised that Brett St. Germain has been able to do this in such a short period out at Lake Central?
No, not at all. Brett's a great coach, and he's a great guy, and we as coaches know who out there is really working hard, who really knows their craft, and Brett's certainly one of those guys. So if you can get kids to buy into what you're doing and work hard like you do, you're going to get results pretty quickly. And Brett's at the biggest school in the region, and he's getting kids to buy into what he wants them to do. And we certainly, this is not a surprise to any.
Hey guys, words of the week are what Roy Richards has been pushing on his football team. Roy, explain again what that is.
Once again, we look at the SAT words, and we take 5 each week, and we put them on a piece of paper. We send it out throughout the school. We put it on our website. Thanks to you guys, we get on the radio and send it out, and we get our kids to try to learn 5 words each week that they'll see on the SAT. We're now at a point where we decided this is the second year we're doing it. Rather than just keep adding 5 words, we'd like to kind of dabble back to the 75 that we hit pretty hard last year. So 2 or 3 of these are repeats from last year. One's a repeat from last week, and then 2 are new that we have introduced. And we're going to kind of keep doing it that way. Introduce maybe 1 or 2 each week. Go back to a year ago and throw in a couple that we have learned that we know that they're going to be able to be tested on again. And then maybe hit one from the week prior to see if we can keep reinforcing what we're learning. The objective is here to try to really drill these words into our kids' eyes and into their minds. The test might not change, so that way why we keep changing the words. Let's keep hitting the ones and keep adding a few new ones.
All right, let's go through the words today.
The first word is a repeat from last year. It's bleak, bare and desolate, cheerless, and dreary. And the sentence we use is, after yet another bad play, the crowd became discouraged because the outcome of the game was looking very bleak. The second word is plausible, appearing truthful or reasonable. The plan to take 20 credit hours, work a full-time job, and play sports in college does not seem very plausible. The third is retribution. This is a new word for us. Something given as repayment, often punishment, revenge, or justice can be also a meaning. Highland will be looking for retribution this Friday night when they host the Governor's football team. I know those guys, and they're going to be looking for that, definitely. The fourth one is pedestrian. This is a repeat from last week. When we quiz the kids, they kept talking about a person walking down the street. So this is one of those words that has a few different meanings, so we want to hit on it. Lacking in distinction. Also, dull or commonplace. And now I'm teasing one of my football coaches. Coach Rodriguez's mini art project seemed rather pedestrian compared to Mrs. Kajawa's wall-to-wall mural. Mrs. Kajawa is one of our art teachers. She has an awesome mural in her classroom, and it's kind of fun to stop by and look at what the kids and what she has done. So I want to give her a little shout-out and tease my coach. And the fifth one is skeptical, and this is a repeat from last year. Having or showing doubt, being unconvinced. We are very skeptical of anyone who claims they can excel in Mr. Hozel's class without studying for his tests. Mr. Hozel is our English teacher and department head.
Roy Richards is the coach of Morton High School football, and if you want to get in touch with him about getting these words for your own class, it's rrrichards at I got it. Go ahead, Roy.
rrrichards at hammond.k12.in.us.
Coach Richards, of course, you guys heard it here about 14 days ago, and that was on a Saturday night game versus Lowell, and a number of veterans came out for the game, and they were recognized before the game, and a lot of veterans that stood in the stands didn't want to come out on the field but also came out to the game. And you're trying to do that throughout the season. I did not realize that. Someone had mentioned that, and you had a number of folks come out for the Clark game on Friday also.
Yep. We had 14 veterans for the Clark game, and some of the veterans are the guys that have the radio show with you on Friday morning, and I asked them to make sure and to announce that this Friday we're at Highland, but we're certainly looking for next Friday, the 16th, to have more veterans come out to be honored before our Munster game, and that's the week of 9/11. So we'd like to make that a special night and bring as many veterans out to the game as possible. Once again, all they've got to do is email me at that email and let me know that they'd like to come and what branch they served, what years, and we will certainly put them on the program and bring them out and do what we've done the first 2 home games. It's been a great event, and it's given our kids a real positive feeling, a real proud feeling to be able to be out there with those people. So we certainly want to continue that.
That is that'll be for next week. They'll do that for the veterans. Once again, I'll give you guys that email from time to time, but it's at Morton, and that's important because then Morton goes on you guys go on the road for 2 weeks, so you won't be doing it, and then you come back. You have Hobart, I think, near
Hobart
the end.
and Gavitt will
Hobart
be
and
doing
Gavitt
it
at the end.
also.
Yeah,
Yes.
so if you want to do it, it'll be September 16th at Hammond Morton. Thanks a lot for stopping by, Roy.
Hey, thank you guys, and have a great week.